Okay, for today's lesson, guys, you guys will be solving word problems. The word problems you guys will be solving today can be solved either by graphing or by the substitution method. For most of the problems today, you guys will be solving using the substitution method. The word problems you will see today look very similar to some of the problems you've seen in the past, but instead of solving them using one variable, we're going to solve it using two variables. But let's get reacquainted. We're going to do this first slide by first solving it using the old method. John has 15 coins, all dimes and quarters, worth $2.55. How many dimes and how many quarters does John have? Well, the old way that we did this was solving everything using one variable. So let's say there were D dimes. How many quarters would there be? Well, since there's a total of 15 coins, it would be 15 minus D. And then we finish the table. And so dimes are worth 10 cents, quarters are worth 25 cents. I then complete the table. For the total is 10D here. This then becomes 25 times 15 minus D. So the total of dimes and the total of quarters should actually equal to $2.55. But since I did my value of the coins without decimals, I'm going to write the equation without a decimal point. Therefore, I get 10D plus 25 times 15 minus D equals to 255. I then get 10D plus 375 minus 25D equals 255. If I simplify this further, I get negative 15D plus 375 equals to 255. I then subtract 375 from both sides. I then get negative 15D equals to negative 120. So how many dimes were there? There were 8 dimes. So there were 8 dimes. And how many quarters? Well, 15 minus 8 should have been 7 quarters. So this was the old method. So how do we solve this using the new method? We're going to solve the same exact problem, but using two variables. So I'm going to say D equals dimes, Q equals the quarters. So again, two different variables, D and Q. So what I'm going to do is write this using two different situations. So John has 15 coins. So I'm going to say the number of dimes plus the number of quarters equals the 15 coins. Situation 2 says how much is it worth? So that's going to be 10D plus 25Q equals 255. Because dimes are worth 10 cents, quarters are worth 25 cents, and the total is 255. So I have two different equations here. And then I can solve this using the substitution method. So situation 1 tells me how many coins I have total. The second situation tells me how much it's actually worth. So what I'm going to do is try to get a variable by itself. I choose to get Q by itself. So I subtract D from both sides. I then substitute in Q into there. I then simplify that to get 10D plus 375 minus 25D equals 255. Guess what, guys? This looks very, very familiar to what I did in the old method. So I get negative 15D equals negative 120. D is equal to 8. So the dimes equals to 8. How do I figure out how many quarters there are? Well, I simply just plug this back in into there. And therefore, there should be 8 dimes and 7 quarters. Okay. If that was too complicated, let's start off with example number 2. The sum of two numbers is 5. The larger number is 14 more than twice the smaller number. Find the numbers. To help you solve this, guys, what we're going to do is break it down to 2 situations. The first situation is the first sentence. The second situation is the second sentence. So I'm going to say that X is the smaller number, Y is the bigger number, because there's 2 numbers here. X is the smaller, Y is the bigger number. So for the first situation, which is the first sentence, the sum of 2 numbers is 5. So I'm going to write that as X plus Y equals 5. Then the second situation has to do with the second sentence. The larger number is 14 more than twice the smaller number. Remember, Y is the bigger number, guys. So I'm going to write that as Y equals to 2X plus 14. The larger number is 14 more than twice the small number. So I'm going to do some substitution. I'm going to plug this in into Y in the first equation. I then get X plus 2X plus 14 equals 5. I then simplify that to this. Subtract 14 from both sides. I get 3X equals a negative 9. X is equal to negative 3. That's not my final answer. I figured out what the small number is. So the next thing I need to do is figure out what the bigger number is. I do that by plugging it into there. Therefore, Y is equal to negative 6 plus 14, which is going to be negative 6 plus 14 is 8. So the 2 numbers are negative 3 and 8. If you add them together, they equal to 5. If you multiply the smaller one by 2 and add it to 14, you get 8. So these are your 2 answers. Let's look at example number 3. A pet shop sold 23 puppies and kittens in 1 week. They sold 9 more puppies than kittens. How many of each did they sell? So I'm going to find 2 variables. P equals the number of puppies. K is the number of kittens. I then will write an equation for the first situation or sentence. There are 23 puppies and kittens. So P plus K equals 23. So they sold 9 more puppies than kittens. So what's situation number 2? P equals K plus 9. Puppies equals 9 more than the kittens. I then will plug this in into P. I then get k plus 9 plus k equals 23. I simplify to get 2k plus 9 equals 23. Subtract 9 from both sides. And therefore I get k is equal to 7. So there are 7 kittens. To figure out how many puppies there were, you plug this into here. And therefore, there are 7 kittens, 16 puppies. Going on to the next example, a bank teller has 112 $5 bills and $10 bills for a total of $720. How many of each does the teller have? So I'm going to say F equals the number of $5 bills. I'm going to say T equals the number of $10 bills. So for the first sentence or situation, I'm going to write F plus T equals 112. That's the number of $5 and $10 bills. Situation 2 is actually how much it's worth. $5 bills are worth $5. The $10 bills are worth $10, and it should equal to 720. So I write 5F plus 10T equals 720. Now what I have to do is try to get a variable by itself to do substitution. So I get T by itself. I will then substitute in 112 minus F into T. Do distributive property. Simplify it. Divide both sides by -5. So F equals 80. To figure out how many $10 bills there were, plug it into there. And therefore, there were 80 $5 bills and 42 $10 bills. For example 5, this gets kind of tricky. So I want you guys to pay very, very close attention when I go over this one. If you buy 6 pens and 1 mechanical pencil, you'll get $1. You'll get only $1 change for your $10 bill. But if you buy 4 pens and 2 mechanical pencils, you'll get $2 in change from your $10 bill. Okay, guys, this is really tricky. So if you buy 6 pens and 1 mechanical pencil, and you get $1 in change for your $10 bill, how much did you actually pay for the 6 pens and 1 mechanical pencil? Well, if you get $1 change, you spend $9. So if you buy 4 pens and 2 mechanical pencils and you get $2 in change from a $10 bill, how much did you actually pay for? Well, if you get $2 in change, you actually paid $8. So let's write an equation regarding this. I said P equals the cost of a pen, M is the cost of a mechanical pencil. So for the first situation, I bought 6 pens and 1 mechanical pencil. So that's going to be 6P plus M equals to $9. The reason being, I get not $1 in change. For the second situation, I buy 4 pens and 2 mechanical pencils. That's 4P plus 2M equals $8 because I get $2 in change. I then want to get M by itself on the top equation. I then substituted 9 minus 6p into m in the bottom equation. I simplify it. I get negative 8 equals negative 10. Don't worry, guys. If you see something like this, it still will work. So P equals 1.25. So that means pens cost $1.25. What you have to do is figure out how much mechanical pencils cost. Well, if you plug in here, you see, what does that actually come out to? If you actually worked it out, you would then get mechanical pencils as $1.50. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you guys got most of the lesson. If not, ask me a lot of questions when I come back tomorrow. Your homework tonight is to do page 424, numbers 1 through 21 odd. It's not a lot of problems, but if you guys have questions, ask me tomorrow. Check your answers tonight, guys. Bye.